Former NFL quarterback Drew Bledsoe, owning a winery has been a long-time aspiration that would allow him to combine his passion for fine wine and love of his hometown, the Walla Walla Valley. Drew returned in 2007 to plant his original estate vineyard, McQueen, on the southern end of the Walla Walla Valley. The following year, Drew launched Doubleback, an estate-focused winery with the goal to produce world-class Cabernet Sauvignon. Since the very first release, the 2007 Cabernet Sauvignon, Doubleback has received numerous accolades, including a spot on the Wine Spectre's Top 100 list. Drew's vision, brought to life by winemaker Josh McDaniels, remains to be a premium wine experience, completely focused on quality. To further assist the vision of high quality, estate-focused wine, Drew has acquired and planted 4 estate vineyards in the Walla Walla Valley, and recently broke ground on the future home of Doubleback Winery, which will open in 2018. Drew is committed to using only the most sustainable, superlative winemaking practices to ensure that Doubleback will be one of the best bottles of wine you will drink. We invite you to learn more about Doubleback and sign up for our mailing list at doubleback.com. That's doubleback.com.
You're listening to Thursday Night Tailgate with Chris Mascaro and Bob Lazari, where NFL legends live on. Back to you, boys.
Him, he's alive.
And now back with us here on Thursday Night Tailgate is former Patriots Pro Bowl running back Tony Collins to help us relive last week's games and maybe get a little sneak into what's ahead in Super Bowl 52. Tony, how are you tonight, my friend?
Hey, Tony.
Doing fantastic. How you doing, Chris and Bob?
Really good, thank you, good. Tony. To quickly review last week, guys, we all were 1-1, right? We all picked the Patriots over the Jags, so it certainly wasn't the blowout that we all thought it would be. And then we were all wrong picking the Vikings over the Eagles. So 1-1 last week, which, Tony, means the best that Bob and I could possibly do would be to tie you for the postseason part of our championship. You're 5-5. Bob and I are both 4-6, and we're not going to make our Super Bowl picks this week. We'll save that for next week. But I have a sneaking suspicion you're going with the Patriots, and probably Bob will too. But so I think the only hope may be that one of us goes Eagles and we get lucky. But we'll see. We'll wait till next week to talk about that. But so it's looking good for you, Tony.
Should be a good game. It should be a good game.
Yeah. Well, we'll break it down next week, but here we are. It's Pro Bowl week, and Tony, I wanted to get some thoughts from you because you played in the Pro Bowl back in '83. I'm curious, what do you remember about being a part of the '83 AFC Pro Bowl team?
Oh man, it was just a blast. Actually, but it was held in Hawaii too, so that was kind of cool. I know now they're doing it in Orlando, which I would prefer Hawaii over Orlando, but. We went out, I think we got out there like the Monday or Tuesday before the week of the game. And, it was a blast, man. It wasn't really any hard practices or anything. We did a lot of sightseeing, meeting the other guys. I know for me, it was kind of cool because I was pretty young. I was like my 3rd year in the league, and I got to be in a locker room with Jack Lambert and Earl Campbell, and it was pretty funny. I got there early, which I thought I was getting there early to practice one day, and I get there and Jack Lambert's already there. He's in the locker room smoking a cigarette. So that was kind of funny to see him in there smoking a cigarette. I was like, man, you smoking a cigarette in the locker room? But that's Jack Lambert, So you let him do whatever he wants to do. So, but it was a great time. It really was.
So you talk about some of the other players. I got to imagine you had an opportunity to hang out with guys that you never would have really had the opportunity to hang out with. So what was it like getting to know some of the guys from other teams in a setting like that, being out there in Hawaii?
It was great, as running backs. Earl Campbell was there, Joe Cribbs from Buffalo was there. Forget who the other running back was, but hanging out with Earl his locker was right next to mine, and just hanging out with him, talking to him, and he was almost going on the end of his career at that time, and I was just coming in the league, so he gave me a lot of insight on a lot of things. So that was pretty cool to hang out with Earl. Something that I still remember. I don't know if he remembers at all, but I know I remember that a lot. Him giving me some good tips on being a running back and trying to be the best that I can at that position.
Were there any hard feelings in that locker room, Tony? Because you're sort of thrust into a locker room, with a bunch of guys, particularly offensive and defensive guys, right? That you're going against sometimes twice a year with guys within your own division. Certainly going at it hard with some other rivals from around the AFC. So you've got that sort of competitive thing going all season long, and now all of a sudden you're in the same locker room with one another. Was it all fun and games and everyone was relaxed, or were there some hard feelings in that locker room?
It was all fun. A lot of guys would joke around different times. See, back then the Pro Bowl was after the Super Bowl, and so I think that year the Raiders won, and so Lester Hayes was out there, and Howie Long and the boys were there, and seeing him walk around because they had just won the Super Bowl. But there was no hard feelings at all. It's almost like we're a big old family, man. When you're in the NFL and when you make it to the Pro Bowl, that type of setting, you know that you're the best of the best for that year. And so it was pretty cool hanging out with the guys and seeing the different personalities on the different teams. And but no hard feelings at all, man. Because even now. I think about any of the guys that I played against. There's never been any hard feelings at all. With any of the guys, because it's like you're part of a fraternity. You're part of a brotherhood that not too many people can be a part of. Not too many people can make it to that level. So it's pretty cool. So no hard feelings, just all fun and just to encourage each other. And it was just a great time.
Bob, questions for Tony?
Hey, Tony, and now we're going to fast forward 30 years to the state of the Pro Bowl now, Tony. And I don't know about yourself, Chris. And Chris, we've talked about this a lot, Tony. It is a very, very tough game to watch. There's so many things that have happened in the 30 years. They put rules into it now. You can't really play the game like you played in the regular season. The violent nature of it, Tony, there's a lot of guys that pull out of the game for good reason. And it just seems like it's a game, it's an event, Tony, whose time is coming past. I'm sure you probably feel the same because it's just not watching football.
Well, see, the thing about what's different from the NBA All-Stars and the NFL and the Pro Bowl, you can get hurt in a Pro Bowl.
Sure.
So what's been happening in these past few years? A lot of guys that they come and they play, but they play really soft. Nobody wants to go out to Hawaii or go to Orlando and get hurt at a Pro Bowl. So you try to take care of each other on the field and making sure nobody try. You want to play at a speed, but you don't want to go too hard. And you definitely want to give nobody no big shot. But sometimes it happens. Sometimes you try to avoid that. But the game has kind of deteriorated a little bit because of that, and because of how violent the game has become. Because now you got guys 6'5", 250 running a 4.5 40, which is that's lethal. And so they take it easy on each other because they don't want nobody to get hurt, and I'm pretty sure that they don't want to see people going down at a Pro Bowl. So that's why the game has kind of lost its sting. I mean, back when I was playing my year, man, we were going at it in the game. I mean, we were playing. We were playing all out in our game because that's what we knew. And and it was a pretty decent game that we played, and we lost, but it was very competitive during the game.
And we know, Tony, the Super Bowl now is such a huge event for football fans and non-football fans. And having lived it like you did and dealing with all the fanfare, it's nothing like it is now, but it still was an event back then. And were you just so jacked up trying to wait for the game to start? Or to take us back to that time between the championship game and the Super Bowl, is it one of these things where you just want to get it over with? You must have been chomping at the bit.
I think during my time we had a 2 week to wait for the Super Bowl as well, just like they're doing now. And the biggest thing was the media. You have so much media all around you all the time. You got to be careful what you say, and as far as giving the other team any kind of ammunition to go into the game, but. It was a big event. I mean, it's probably 3 times what it was back then than as it is now. But I remember all the media all the time, and one of my biggest things, because I have a big family, was getting the tickets and making sure everybody got their tickets and making sure all that was all taken care of. That was a big thing, trying to make sure all my family members got the tickets. I had to get these tickets and get them here and get them there, and family coming down to New Orleans, and that part of it was kind of hectic. But once you go out to practice, you get focused on the game, and you settle down into it, and it was an event that you never forget, man, because you dream of playing in the Super Bowl when you're young, and once you get that opportunity, man, it's like a dream come true. Win or lose, getting to the Super Bowl is one of the epic things that you want to do as an NFL player. And there's guys that played in the league for years and never get an opportunity to play in the Super Bowl. So I was very fortunate, and it was a lot of people don't know it, but our Super Bowl, when we went, it was the first Patriot team to go to a Super Bowl. And we lost against the Bears, but it was a great season. We were on the road. We were a wild card playoff team. We were on the road in New York. We won in New York. Then we had to go out to L.A., which nobody thought we were going to beat the Raiders out there. We beat the Raiders out in L.A., and then we flew from L.A. to Miami because now we got to play Miami Dolphins. We haven't beat them down in Miami in like 16 years. So nobody thought we were going to win that game either. So it was a great journey, and getting there and getting to play in the Super Bowl in New Orleans. So it was fantastic. Something that I'll never forget.
Tony, before we let you go, remind our listeners again all the great things that you're doing helping kids go to college. TonyCollins.org. We're going on our 10th year anniversary, giving out a lot of different things, scholarships to kids going off to school, and go to the website, do whatever you can to help us fulfill our destiny. There you go. Tony, we look forward to talking Super Bowl with you next week. In between now and then, my friend, all the best to you and your family.
Enjoy the week, Tony.
Thank you guys. You have a great one. God bless.
All right, take care, Tony. That's former Patriots Pro Bowl running back Tony Collins. We're going to get to our next guest, Rusty Hilger, on the other side of this quick station break.